Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Paul, and in this Gaming Silicon video, we're going to be investigating how well the Ryzen 7 2700X compares against Intel's i9-9900K. It is the Christmas season after all, so a lot of folks are buying cards just like this. This one is an RTX 2070 card. This is from MSI. It's a gaming Z variant, which is heavily overclocked. It puts out more performance than something like a GTX 1080, and there will be a full review of this coming soon. But given it is the holiday period and people are picking up hardware, I figured it would be a really good, fun video to put out a comparison with gaming in mind with one of these cards and see how well the Ryzen 7 does compare against the 9900K. There'll also be a follow-up video to this in the not too distant future, which will be comparing the performance of a 9900K versus a Ryzen 7 on a RTX 2080 Ti graphics card, but I decided to split them into two separate points because obviously there is a large discrepancy in performance between a 2070 card and a 2080 Ti. So what we could do, of course, is we could lower the graphical quality settings so that the 9900K and the Ryzen 7 2700X have to do more work, and thus offloading some of the work from the GPU. But I don't think that that's exactly how people are going to game. If you buy something like a GTX 1080, if you buy a 2070 or any of those type of cards, you're not going to want to game at like low to medium quality settings. You're going to want to crank them up as much as possible for your relevant display. There are some exceptions that we're not covering here, like Counter-Strike Global Offensive. But to be honest with you, even CSGO, you're going to be absolutely fine with a Ryzen 7 2700X anyway for most people, unless you're really competitive, and then, you know, you might want the best possible frame rates if you've got a really high refresh rate monitor. But once again, we're not covering that particular scenario here. Instead, we are covering the average gamer. You can also, of course, extrapolate the performance of the 9900K and consider that the same as like the 8700K, the 9700K, and so on. There are some really good deals right now going around with Black Friday, particularly with the Ryzen 1000 series, so you could also say the 2700X is the equivalent of like an 1800X or a 1700X as well. I'd also like to take one moment to go through disclosures. I would like to thank MSI for providing the RTX 2070 along with the motherboards and processors used in this comparison. And I'd also like to thank Deepcool as well for providing the Castle 280 RGB cooler. This is not a sponsored video. These products have been sent to us for the purposes of review. But still, I like to make these disclosures just so you know, and I think it's the fairest to you as viewers. With all that said, let's have a look at the benchmarks. So then, what can we learn by looking at the performance numbers and the data here? Well, it's fairly clear that if you are considering purchasing an RTX 2070 level card, you are not going to be CPU bound by the Ryzen 7 2700X. In fact, you're going to have an amazing gaming experience whether you go with Intel or whether you go with AMD. Processors nowadays are more than capable of playing the titles that you love at the frame rates that you want. There are some exceptions and possible considerations of going Intel if, for example, you play CSGO. If you're playing on a really high refresh rate monitor and you're playing very competitively, then Intel do have a slight advantage there. For example, and we also saw in the Ashes of the Singularity tests that yes, Intel do have an advantage as well here. But those are outliers and certainly not a good representation of what every gamer is going to want to do. Most gamers are going to want to do something very simple. They're going to want to play at the highest graphical settings with their particular monitor and just enjoy games. So if you have a 1440p monitor, you're going to want to crank the graphical settings all the way up, play at 1440p and just have a really good time. And whether you go with AMD, whether you go with Intel, you're going to be absolutely fine on either machine here. I'd also like to remind everyone that this is not a full review of a 9900K against a Ryzen 7 2700X. There will be a full review of the 9900K coming soon, but it is clear, of course, the 9900K is certainly faster than the 2700X. And in certain tasks, yes, you may be better to pay the price premium depending on your usage scenario, what your financial situation is, and of course all of the other caveats that come alongside that. But we'll go deeper into that in the full review. In this particular video, it is more focused on if you are buying, once again, a RTX 2070 class card and gaming is your primary focus, are you going to be okay purchasing AMD? Once again, with the Christmas period coming and we've got Black Friday as well, we all know that there are some really good deals to be had, particularly on the AMD side. In fact, I've seen some incredible deals on the previous generation Ryzens as well, where we're seeing ridiculous discounts because obviously they've become end of line. So you can certainly take the Ryzen 7 2700X results and just, clock them down a couple of percent because really there's not that much difference between the two generations of Ryzen. With all of that said, hopefully you have found this video informative and useful. If you did, then you can subscribe to the channel for more content and you can click the like button because it really helps us out on the video, and comment below to tell us what your system, your dream system is that you're building over the Christmas period. You can also find us on Patreon, linked in the video description, and there's also an Amazon affiliate link, so if you are considering buying anything and you're buying anything from Amazon, do feel free to check out that link because it does help us get a few pennies from your purchase. Of course, you don't need to, but it is appreciated if you do. You can also find a couple of other links in the video description as well, including a Zen versus Intel i9-9900K IPC comparison, which is really interesting and goes rather nicely alongside this video, so you can check that out also. With all of that said, take care of yourselves and bye for now.